So first of all, I'm going to warn you that I might come across a little bit grumpy in this video. In the last few weeks, my insomnia has made a very unwelcome return. Bad boy. And I'm just not sleeping. Like last night, I finally drifted off at 7 AM, which is not ideal, but I did manage to catch up with the new series of True Detective, so that kept me occupied for a little bit. I just think I'm generally not very happy at the moment. I think there's a lot on my mind. Pretty much every area of my life needs something good to happen to it at the moment, so I think I'm just like dwelling on things a bit at the moment. But anyway, that's not why you're here. Today I'm going to answer the questions I got in the Q&A video. It wasn't exactly an overwhelming response. I'm just going to put that down to the fact that I did one relatively recently and not because you're just not interested. But I will go through the ones that I did get, and thank you to all of those that took the time to do that. Bless you. Okay, so open up the laptop. So this one wasn't actually on the Q&A video, but it was a question that was left on another video, and that was from Victoria, who wanted to know what mascara I use, and the answer is Lancome Hypnose Drama. I love it. It's quite thick and dramatic, so if you go for the natural look, this probably isn't the one for you, but if you like long, thick lashes, I can thoroughly recommend it. I can't find where I put them now. Oh yeah. I've been experimenting also with the Sonia Flawless Volumizing Mascara and the unique Moodstruck mascara lately, and the reviews of those are on my blog as well. So let's get cracking. So Aaron Brown says, "Hey Sophie, I met you briefly at Slam Dunk in the press room this year. Your interviews are great and you always seem to interview really interesting people. I'd love to see more interviews with tattooists. It would also be great if you could get an interview with Frank Carter." On the Frank Carter thing, I have interviewed him a couple of times and they are on the channel, but they weren't tattoo based interviews. They were when he was in Pure Love, so they're mainly about that. But if you have a search within my channel, they are there somewhere. Love to chat to him again. We get on quite well. He's quite a cool guy, and you might think he's quite intimidating and scary because of the way he acts on stage, but he's a really nice, cool guy, so I will try and sort that out. Who would your dream interview be with? That's really tough because the people that I'm really interested in, potentially I wouldn't want to meet because it might ruin what I think about them or believe them to be. And like I was thinking the other day, obviously you think that Marilyn Manson, really interesting person to talk to, but if you're given say 5 to 10 minutes with him, how on earth do you come up with a question that one, hasn't been asked before, two, is still relevant to him and will tick all the boxes in terms of, you know, the things he wants to talk about, like his album or the films he's working on, etc. Three, kind of satisfy the fans that want to find something new out. Four, not piss them off by going too off topic or too random. With someone like that, someone so interesting, you almost want to have quite a few hours to explore all the different avenues. So I kind of think that about a lot of people that I think would be fantastic interviewee subjects, but I really wouldn't want to do a 10-minute interview with them because I don't think I would even like scratch the surface almost. Dream interview. God, that is really... It's the same with Dave Grohl. I mean, he's probably been asked every question ever. How do you come up with something new and refreshing without kind of disrespecting his status as a legend of music? Like, I wouldn't want to ask him something completely wacky and random because with that kind of legacy behind him, it wouldn't feel right to do that. Who would be your dream interview? I'd quite like to interview Linkin Park because I haven't done them yet. They're not my dream interviews, but because I haven't done that out of all the bands, and I've done a lot of the new metal era, I'd like to do that. And Deftones as well, that's another one. So how do you deal with interviewees that aren't interested and don't seem that they want to be there? This is a really hard one, and some people aren't very good at hiding when they don't want to be interviewed and make it perfectly clear. One band actually said to me before we started filming, "We don't want to be here, so can you just hurry it up?" Which obviously doesn't set a tone for a really enjoyable chat. So it can be tricky. It's not all as fun as it seems sometimes. And some bands are just shy and a little bit awkward, and it's not coming from a bad place. They just don't like that part of the job. So I think it's really important to be able to respond to each interviewee personally. So you gauge whether they're people that like to have a laugh. You gauge whether they're the sort of people that are very serious about their art form and want to really talk about that, and they don't want to talk about silly stuff. And if you get the impression they really don't want to be there, just make it a really short, punchy, get to the point sort of interview. But I just always try and be smiley and relaxed as possible, and don't let it get to me. And if it is really horrendous, maybe have a little cry later about it because it was so awkward. And finally, from Aaron, how much research do you do before an interview, and how do you come up with unique questions? As you will know, Aaron, as a journalist, some interviews are very much spur of the moment. You'll be in a press room and a PR will come over and go, "Do you have time to just speak to this band?" And that will mean that you don't have any time to prepare. And that's tough sometimes because you have to then kind of roll out the generic questions because you don't know enough about the band to kind of think of anything more tailor-made to them. But you just got to make sure you always seem interested and engaged with them, even if you're doing the kind of more generic ones. If I have time to, prepare for one, I will go on YouTube and watch lots of previous interviews that they've done with other people on YouTube. And from that, you'll kind of gauge what questions they always get asked and how they respond to that. And you'll know from their reactions which ones they're tired of answering, which kind of themes they don't really like talking about. And maybe from that you can think, okay, what haven't people asked? What would I be interested to know as a fan watching the video? But I always say that maybe you shouldn't plan too much. Like, I never come with questions written down because I want it to be just a conversation. And with conversations, you never know where it's going to lead, what tangents you go down. You've got to kind of almost go with that because that often leads to kind of interesting insights or funny moments. But what a lot of people that write mean comments on YouTube about interviewers is that they don't realise that sometimes you've got a PR saying, "You've got to mention this," or you've got to get certain dates in there to fit the criteria of that interview. Or you might be working for a client who's asked for a particular style of interview or particular style of questions. Or you might have been told, okay, you can't talk about this. And you might have prepared questions that are all relating to that thing that you can't talk about, and then you're like, oh, I'm screwed. Anyway, so I hope that was kind of helpful. Sorry, that was a long answer, Aaron, sorry. Carmel Harmony, what a cool name. First of all, I don't want to read that, that was a compliment. You obviously do loads of things during the week. I was wondering how a day in your life looks. At the moment, frightfully dull, because I'm so tired and my health is pretty terrible at the moment. I am not doing much. I'm trying to keep up with doing YouTube videos for you guys, but apart from that, I'm taking it pretty easy just to take care of the bod. I'm sorry if I'm a bit nosy, who isn't? But do you have a degree? Yes, I got a first in fine art from Southampton. I specialised in the end in multi-screen video installation artwork, but during that I also did like photography and drawing, all sorts of stuff. But yeah, the final thing was videos. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? I'd like to be a bit more content. I would like to have a place, even if it's renting it. I'd like to be living away from home, having some independence. Maybe thinking about marriage, maybe married, who knows. I I would like to be at a point where people believe that I deserve to get money for the work I do. At the moment, barely anyone wants to pay for your services. It's just the way the industry is at the moment. There's no money, and it can be quite soul destroying when you work your butt off and you don't really get any reward. So I'd like to be in a position where I'm doing what I love and someone is actually rewarding me financially for that. That would be nice. And if you had the power to change anything in the world, what would it be? I wish everyone would stop being so judgmental of others. Like, you shouldn't judge other people until you've been in their shoes. Like, you don't know what they're going through, their thought processes, why they are like they are, why they think like they think. And I think we should just be a bit more accepting. That said, I can't accept racism or homophobia, anything like that, and I wish that was just non-existent in the world. It's just something I can't get my head around. That mentality doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. So if I change anything, it would be that, and obviously just everyone to have a decent quality of life. Like, yes, I moan a lot, but I'm very lucky. When you watch the news and stuff and you see what some people have to deal with on a daily basis, it's not fair and it's not right that, you know, some of us are living a life of luxury and other people are barely surviving. Something's up there, so a more even ground would be nice, I guess. Paris Marks, what was it like to interview Marilyn Manson? I don't know, because I didn't. I heard him talking to other people and he was being his wonderful, dry, kind of sarcastic humour was going on. I think he touched someone and said, "Now you've got coyote AIDS" or something. I overheard that. Don't know what the topic of conversation was there, but yeah, he's a unique character. What got you interested in mindfulness, and do you have any beliefs about spirituality? And oh, that's from SMN Atkinson, I guess. Yeah. And do you have any beliefs about spirituality and or the meaning of our existence? Sorry if that's too deep. No, not at all. Well, it probably will be, because my answer will not be deep enough. But mindfulness is something that a lot of people have told me would probably do me a lot of good. They obviously know that I've been through counselling and that I have suffered with anxiety and depression, and that I have quite a lot of stresses in my life. So I think they know that that would probably be a good route for me to just find new skills and ways of coping with the present, rather than fretting about things that have happened in the past and things that have happened in the future, or going to happen in the future rather. Do you have any beliefs about spirituality and or the meaning of our existence? Well, I like to believe that we're all put here on this planet to kind of leave an imprint of some sort, and hopefully a positive imprint. That's kind of what I want my legacy to be, that I did something positive in my life that impacted other people in a positive way, however small. Spirituality, I'm not necessarily religious, but that doesn't mean that I don't believe there could be something out there. I do like to believe that there is something, and I like to believe in the afterlife for sure. Yeah, I want to think about that a bit more actually, because I guess that kind of changes a bit as you get older and you experience death more frequently as well, and I think your perspective changes on things and what you want to believe changes. So yeah, Adam A, will you ever interview Imagine Dragons again? Well, that'd be lovely if they're up for it, definitely would. I think I was quite lucky to get that one, because I don't think I'm actually a big enough fish in this world to have actually usually got that, but I think someone was just being very kind to me that day and let me do that because I had some time. But yeah, Dan was a lovely chap, so who knows, that would be nice. Perhaps tweet them and say they should speak to me again. Sophia B, when are you next interviewing Catfish and the Bottleman? Same again, I don't know, but Van is just an absolute joy. So nice to meet people that are humble and just so appreciative of the position they're in and just clearly loving it. Just warms the cockles. Hannah Olsen, do you like animals and do you have any? Hannah, I love animals. Pretty obsessed with animals actually. I will watch any animal program. if I see an animal, I will ignore the human they're with and go straight to the animal. I'm pretty much a dog botherer when I go to a park. We'll just go and try and make friends with any dog I see there. Cats seem to have an affinity with me and they always come and say hello. I don't know, I love animals, and sometimes I think that is the route I should have perhaps gone down career-wise, because I just love them. Sloths are my absolute favourite though. Do I have any? Not currently. I had a cat called Mitzi for 21 years, who I love dearly, and I had some stick insects. But I do have a dog called Rosie, the cockapoo, who you will have seen on my Instagram loads, and I think there's a video of her on here as well. And I got her through borrowing my doggy, so she kind of feels partially mine because I look after her quite a lot, and that's a great kind of a website if you love dogs and you don't really have the situation that allows you to have a dog. Check that out, because it means you can spend time with dogs without the financial strain and without the stresses that come with it. So Tess Murray, sorry. Who is your favourite band and singer, and what's your all-time favourite interview you've had with someone? Favourite band singer, that is just impossible to answer. I do love Deftones, as I've said numerous times. Chino Marino can do, he's got such a varied voice. He can do kind of the wistful, that's not the word, kind of that airy kind of ethereal tone, and then he can do the screaming, so I like him. But then, oh, that's so hard. Good voices. Kelly Clarkson's got a belting voice, hasn't she? Oh god, that is impossible. I listen to all sorts of music. I'm not just a rock head. So I like power ballads, I like Motown, I love classical, I love hip hop. I literally love everything, so to pick one out of all the genres is pretty impossible, but I'll mull that over a bit more and I might add that again at the end.